Scoob is the new animated film that's been on VOD rental for the past month, and because it just got moved to HBO Max this past week, I got to check this one out last night, and right now I'm going to review Scoob non-spoiler fashion. If you've already seen Scoob, it's already been out a month via VOD. Let me know down below if you enjoyed Scoob. Was it faithful, in your opinion, to the original animated show, or were you disappointed with this film? You thought it wasn't faithful to that show. If you haven't seen Scoob and you maybe have HBO Max or you still don't and may want to rent this, are you interested still in renting Scoob, or tell me your thoughts about the trailers in the comments section down below. So Scoob basically is about the origin story of the relationship between Shaggy and Scooby, and then once they tell that story, it's about how basically Shaggy and Scooby are scooped up by Blue Falcon, voiced by Mark Wahlberg, and they have to go on their own journey while our three other members of the Mystery Inc. crew, Fred, Daphne, and Velma, have to find the actual mystery as well. And there's a villain called Dick Dastardly, who Scooby is the main focus because he is a late ancestor to Alexander the Great's dog. So that all is in there. And there's a lot going on in this movie. The film does star, so Zac Efron is Fred, Amanda Seyfried is Daphne, Gina Rodriguez is Velma, Will Forte voices Shaggy, Frank Welker, of course, voices Scooby-Doo, Mark Wahlberg is in the Blue Falcon role, Ken Jeong plays Mark Wahlberg's dog, Jason Isaac is the villain, Dick Dastardly, and so forth and so forth. The way this review will work is I'll give you my positives, I'll give you my negatives, and then I'll give you my score, a percentage, and a rating out of 5 stars. So Scoob, for me, I was really excited for this film because the trailers really sold me. I felt the animation for me worked in the trailers, and it felt like that we were going back to form with the film, with this really great group of gang. It's great to share this story with a brand new audience. We haven't seen a new Scooby-Doo story in decades, so it's nice to see that come through here. My positives, I do think this voice cast is really good in its respective roles. Obviously, Frank Welker, who's been the only person to ever voice Scooby, once again comes through really well here. I actually think Will Forte does a great job as Shaggy. They're the reason why you want to watch this movie. That their relationship is really good here in the film, especially giving them its origin story, which we haven't really seen from any of the show or the 2 live action films, which are really nice. Zac Efron's a really good Fred, I think. And in general, I think Jason Isaacs, who can always be a bad guy. I actually just talked about him yesterday because he was Lucius Malfoy in the Harry Potter franchise. He's got a great voice, and Dick Dastardly was an interesting enough villain, is what I'll say. Also, guys, I really love this animation. It feels very modern. I like the idea of making Scooby-Doo for a modern audience, and if it wants to go animation, I think this animation was really unique and something we don't really see this type of animation in the world of animation. So I think that works on a lot of levels. So the film is only 1 hour and 34, so it's a pretty easy watch. It's not really going to hurt you if you don't like the film, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But in general, I think the cast is really good. Obviously, these are the characters we grew up and loved, and a villain who is interesting enough to keep the film moving. And the animation itself is really, really good. And of course, I think my favorite part of the movie is the Shaggy character, who I think gets the most backstory we've done in any Scooby-Doo story before. And you really feel why he needs Scooby-Doo and why they need each other, which I think they actually nailed in the film. But now we move on to the bad, and is that the plot and what they're trying to set up makes absolutely no sense, and the film really isn't a Scooby-Doo film. The first 15 minutes of this film is fantastic stuff, in my opinion. I think it's exactly the film that I wanted it to be, is the origin story, and you see the gang, the Mystery Inc. gang together and doing stuff in the opening of the film, and then once Shaggy and Scooby are taken by Blue Falcon, they're separated for basically the whole movie from Fred, Velma, and Daphne, and it made absolutely no sense why you would separate the reason why people are coming to the film, and that's for Mystery Inc. to solve some mysteries. And it didn't really make any sense why they would separate our two lead characters here. Um, so once they go up, the actual plot of Dick Dastardly's plan, the fact that Scooby is somehow a um, related to Alexander the Great's dog, and that's why Scooby is a necessity in this movie, makes zero sense. They try to add in a message that Alexander the Great, and I don't know why kids would like this type of ending, because a lot of kids maybe not even know who Alexander the Great is, but they're trying to introduce him into this role, and it doesn't make any sense. As well, the film is very cliched, and the film is also trying to be like a Marvel superhero movie, just with Scooby-Doo characters that happen to be in the universe, and that made absolutely no sense. And there's also, this film feels like a setup for a big franchise, not just involving Scooby-Doo, but the Blue Falcon character. There's a lot of directions that they seemed they wanted to go in, but they couldn't really make this a focused film. The first 15 minutes felt very focused. You really love the crew already, but then you're pulled from what you love from the Scooby-Doo franchise in favor of a franchise universe building story, and it didn't make any sense. I think Scooby-Doo is why Scooby-Doo works, is that it's so focused on one particular story and how the gang can solve the mystery. This movie, there really isn't a mystery going on. There kind of is, but Dick Dastardly is the villain, so you're not really fooling anyone. There's also a cameo in here. I'm not going to spoil it, but a cameo that keeps coming back, and it doesn't really help the movie whatsoever. But yeah, that's the main problem there. Is it's a setup movie, and for a movie that's an hour and a half, for that short of time, it needs to focus itself more on its actual story, because it doesn't really make a lot of sense. And it doesn't feel like a Scooby-Doo film. It's like, for this, and the film also has a lot of modern day pop culture. There's people dabbing, there's people doing Fortnite dances, there's people, Velma brings up toxic masculinity to Fred out of nowhere, and it just pulls me out of the film. Feels like when they made it, all these pop culture references were relevant, but we must have made this a year or two ago, because now those pop culture references are completely out of tone here. And the dab joke that I'm seeing in a lot of the kids animated films, the more I see it, the more annoyed I get. 30 seconds into Blue Falcon's introduction, he's already dabbing, and it just pulls you from his character just like that. The film uses, and also all the jokes just don't land. There are a lot of jokes that are kids. They do a lot of puns, and they even know they're doing puns, but it still doesn't work. So overall, guys, I was really disappointed with Scoob. I loved the trailers, and I really loved the first 15 minutes, and I was like, why are people saying mixed things about the film? In the first 15 minutes are really great, showing you the introduction to Mystery Inc., but also they really expect you to know these characters right away. They basically give no background on Fred, Velma, and Daphne, and you don't understand who they're. If you've never seen a Scooby-Doo movie, you have no idea who these characters are and why they act this way. The film just makes you feel dumb, because it makes you feel like you have had to see either the movies or the show to understand what the hell is going on, and it's trying to reach a new generation, which is weird. This film is mainly for kids. It's not trying to reach the people who used to watch the animated show or the movies. It's for this new generation. But this new generation might not have seen those original animated shows. So why would you make the audience feel dumb by not explaining to them who these characters are? And it's so weird that this movie did that, because it just is one of my most disappointed movies I've seen in a long time this year. I give this movie a 2 out of 5 stars, a 40%. I wanted to put this as an average movie, but when you reflect after seeing it and understanding what the plot of the movie was, what they actually did to the story, and what they're trying to set up, it just drowns this movie in negativity, and it's super sad, because I wanted this movie to be above average. I just wanted a fine movie, animated fun movie where I'm just not bored. The story could not make sense, but I'm having a good time. This movie is too much setup. It pulls away the best part of the Scooby-Doo lore, trying to set up a bigger universe and more films, which I'm not sure we're going to get because this film went straight to VOD and then went to HBO Max. And it doesn't sound like a lot of people are watching it. So in general, guys, I gave Scoob a 2 out of 5 stars, a 40%. If you have seen Scoob, tell me down below in your non-spoiler thoughts. Did you like the movie? Did you not like the movie? Do you agree with my take on the film? And if you haven't seen it, did I actually turn you in the other direction to not rent this movie or not go to HBO Max to see the movie? Or did I get you even more interested to see Scoob on either VOD rental or HBO Max? My next video here, guys, on this YouTube channel is this upcoming Wednesday, which is July 1st. I will be ranking all 6 of the new releases that I saw in the month of June. That will be a 6-movie ranking coming out this Wednesday here on Max Talks Movies. And then this Friday, there's a new Netflix original movie called Desperados. I'll be reviewing that in non-spoiler fashion as well. This week, busy week here on Max Talks Movies, possibly live on air episode 2 of Ty and Me. Could be coming up this Saturday. If not this Saturday, the following Saturday seems like the best idea for that show. If you really like shooting platform reviews, movie reviews like this, or TV show reviews, or movie rankings, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Also, hit that like button to help the algorithm for this show. Share the video to anyone you think would really enjoy this type of content. I want to say I really appreciate all the support I've been getting for my YouTube channel. I've gotten some great DMs. My description, in the description below are my Instagram, my Letterboxd, and my Twitter accounts. You guys can DM me and I'll have a nice conversation with you guys on a non-personal basis. I really enjoy having those conversations in a very nice manner. Well, that will do it for me, my review of Scoob. I'll check you guys out on Wednesday.